Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Hello. How we doing?
Best day of the week. It's great to see you guys. How was your weekend?
10 out of 10. Not the same old,
great.
same old.
Not the same old, same old. What were you up to?
The Savannah Bananas were in Auburn, and I can see why it's the hardest ticket in sports. It is truly the most entertaining athletic event I've ever been to. So if you've never heard of them, you have to check them out. Whether you have kids or not, it is well worth figuring out how to get a ticket to it.
I'm very jealous. I've been like a secret banana fan for many years, following them on Instagram, and every time I've brought up to like my friends, like I really want to go, like no one thinks I'm serious. So I'm happy that you got to go experience that.
Yeah, everything from start to finish. I mean, from hours before it starts. Here's me and my son Oliver and Jesse Cole, Mr. Banana Man himself. So what he's done with this organization is something that we should all strive to as hospitality folks. I mean, completely reimagining a boring minor league baseball team in Gastonia, South Carolina, to an empire with millions and millions of fans and followers. Like, truly inspirational of how he just completely reimagined every little boring thing of baseball and made it fun, from a walk where you get to run until every player touches the ball, to a foul ball into the stands. If someone catches it, then it's an out. Like, every little thing is so much fun. And it's like all the ranges of emotions. At the very beginning, they brought out a little girl who just had a brain tumor removed. And then she hits a ball, gets an inside the park home run, and both teams just mob her at home. And
oh my God, I love that stuff. It's like bringing tears to my eyes.
Yeah. And then like the level of ball on the field was also legit. I mean, these guys are all minor league players that just couldn't quite cut it into the majors. So you've got a guy pitching while he's on stilts and another guy actually hitting a ball when he's riding a unicycle in the batter's box. So highly entertaining. Kudos to you, Jesse Cole. I know you're out there listening, but well done on a fun season.
How about you, Jamie? What did you get up to this weekend?
Yeah, we had a 8-year-old birthday. My son Elliot turned 8, so entertained a bunch of kids out at the park, played some kickball, and then took them to the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra for Harry Potter themed songs by the orchestra. Pretty cool. But
I love that.
I'm getting ready to head. A lot of people dressed up. It was awesome.
Well, we also wanted you to get your take on Verma. I know we're a little bit late to that, but you were the only member of the team that was physically there this time. So do you want to give us your quick kind of like elevator pitch recap of what you think went well, what didn't go well, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. And it was Vegas. So, and there's people that love Vegas and hate Vegas. I'm in the hate Vegas camp.
Same.
But super excited that it's going to be in Nashville next year, coming back to the East Coast. I suspect that's going to help with attendance a lot. Attendance was down again this year. And up for vendors. There were a lot of vendors out there. Vendor hall was popping. We had excellent booth placement for AirDNA, which was awesome. A ton of traffic, but it was, and yeah, again, each vendor trying to outdo themselves. And overall, there was probably 8 different AI companies there, many of whom I had never heard of before. And it was awesome to see what they were doing, how they were creating new features and functionality to help make hosting easier, because we all know it's hard. And they're really focused on the operations aspect of which part of operations can we automate, can we bring AI solutions into it, and that sort of innovation, and people really get excited about what new technology can bring. And that gets me excited, sort of walking around the vendor hall and how the industry is going to evolve over the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's great to see that there's some tools coming out that aren't just like messaging for AI, which is, important and everything. But I've always been really intrigued about what's going to happen that actually helps like ops, which is the beat down section of the business.
Yeah.
So maybe hopefully next year we'll be back. I really had like extreme FOMO. So
and then on the content, I'll say in general, I was underwhelmed by the main stage presentations. And it was what it was, but and there was a lot of new faces on the educational content, a lot of people presenting for the first time, and a lot of new topics, things people were getting into. So was excited to see some of that and experience it. So props to the content team for coming up with some new stuff for everyone to sort of get to experience.
Was the term AI mentioned in 100% of the talks?
No.
Oh, wow.
Actually, yes. I was going to say I didn't talk about AI in mine, but I did. Yeah, I mentioned it. It was actually a fun, and we're talking about guest reviews and how review scores have actually gone up. And the one category that had gone up the most over the past year was communication scores for large property managers. Like, it's like,
and you're over here knocking AI communication and chat like that. That's the central core to the business, right? Respond fast.
It's there. That is important. But I think that like as a property manager, when you're dealing with specifically the ops team, like how do you make that more efficient, especially when you have huge geographical areas to cover, you have so many timing things to consider. Like that's the part that is the most like I think labor intensive and has the most cost associated with it. So not that I guess experience isn't important, but that's my little hill I'm dying on. But speaking of improvements for operators, hopefully, we did have the Airbnb winter release with a slew of interesting new features. And so, we've had a chance to kind of look through a lot of these. The social features that they're pushing out and wanting to be another social media app. I feel my personal opinion is that this seems very lackluster, as like they've missed the opportunity to do that. I don't know if anyone is going, if like Airbnb is going to be the next Instagram, or if it needs to be. So there's, that's just part of my bias, I think there. But they're, having more conversations between guests and hosts, being able to share photos and messages and things like that, and trying to get people more engaged in a social context. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that they're going to be able to become the next TikTok via,
Well, so the messaging that they're rolling out is twofold. It's traveler to traveler, but it's also host to traveler. And 7 out of 10 hosts want to know more about their guests before they arrive. Shocker. Like, you're opening your home to a stranger. It's good to know it's good to know more about that person. I don't think anybody, I guess some people, 3 out of 10 don't care who's there, but most people want to make sure they're there for the right reasons. They're not doing anything illegal. They're not going to be throwing parties, whatever. And the more you can kind of build your personal profile out to look like the upstanding citizen that you are, the better. That said, this has been a can of worms for Airbnb in the past with discrimination and various things. So I get why hosts want it. I get why Airbnb wants to kind of open up that communication. You can do lots of research on property managers, but it's hard to find hosts. A lot of people don't use their real names in social media anymore for a variety of reasons. but I'm interested to see how it shakes out.
For some of the upgrades that are coming for hosts, I found these to be particularly interesting. The video messaging, this is huge. I mean, if you're trying to tell people, like, this is exactly how you open this lock or deal with this fireplace or whatever, I think that is incredible. And the pricing tips, always, I think I'm always a little bit skeptical about their pricing, but any sort of improvements to that system, I think, is also great.
Yeah, so the big feature release that I was excited about around the social features was like if you've ever booked an experience, like you kind of want to know who's going to be there. Like if you're going to do a bar crawl, you kind
Yeah.
of like, is it going to be a bunch of people in their 70s, like, and experience that you're going to be crawling around Dublin with, or is it a bunch of people in their 30s or 40s that may, and so being able to see who's there, other places they travel to, seeing their profiles sort of before you get there, and I think is huge. And then afterwards, like if you like made friends with these people, they can open themselves up to messages, and then you can actually go in and message them, exchange contacts. They're not going to limit you of like sharing your cell phone or your personal email like they do between hosts and guests. And you can actually make friends through the platform that is sort of based in these real life experiences.
We're gonna see the My Story page on a wedding website, be like, and then we met through an Airbnb experience.
Right. So I'm super excited to see them sort of connecting these dots. I've done so many Airbnb experiences where I get done and like, man, like it would be great for us all to be able to share the photos that we sort of took. And we're sort of kind of doing that through WhatsApp. If we like remember it all, share our WhatsApp numbers, to have a central spot to do it. And ultimately their ability to drive more bookings of experiences through Airbnb. Because if you book it direct or book it through some other platform, and you're not going to have that opportunity to sort of do it with all the other, to sort of have that social experience with all the other people. So this is one sort of differentiation point of like, oh, let me book through Airbnb so I get this functionality that I wouldn't otherwise have gotten.
Yeah, I from an experience standpoint, the more you can customize to the actual person, the better. If somebody's in town for a sporting event and you figure out whose team they're on and you can get them apparel or rag on them for making the wrong choices in life. But just a point of clarification, it's not about homes. It is only about the experiences, the social side. I'd imagine one day it'll percolate into the home side. But back to a comment I said earlier, they've had a lot of trouble with discrimination and things like that. So it does make sense they would keep that barrier up for now and see how it goes with experiences to start.
I was watching the new season of the show Nobody Wants This on Netflix, and there's a scene when they go to excuse me, a like pasta making class in LA, and it was the most crazy product placement I have seen yet in like a Netflix movie. And it was the chef goes, "Thank you for booking this Airbnb experience." And I was like amazed. First of all, this show is like one of the most popular shows like in recent history, like in the last like 5 years. So like I get that you want to have it out there, but I wonder how much that Airbnb experience marketing budget was to get that in the Netflix show.
Yeah. Circling back to the video side of things, I'm still kind of shocked that video hasn't worked its way into listings,
That's a good point.
because that's when I want to see the house, right? Like you can take as many good still photos and frame it a certain way, but if you have a video walkthrough, it's tough to hide the blemishes or the things that you're trying to hide in certain angles. But having it for check-in and through messaging, being able to walk through how the funky key works, that it has to be a certain way, all the little idiosyncrasies of property management and getting in units, how a remote works. People don't read anymore, but they'll watch a quick video. So I think that's going to be a net. We talked about reviews getting better because of AI. I have to imagine all of the challenges that happen from person arriving to property to the first 30 minutes being in there can be solved with good quality, quick video content.
Yeah. And then the other one that I was interested to see is the release of dynamic cancellation policies.
Yes.
Like really important on the host side, like, and talking with hosts on like listing optimization, like, yes, having a strict policy during peak season to make sure you sort of maintain that revenue, but any way that you can sort of loosen up policies, cut rates during the off season to drive incremental bookings, and having a less stringent, and it's still like over 20% of listings have a strict cancellation policy. Though new listings can't add them, and that is a change that happened as of this month. And you've got this new limited policy, and because it's October 27th, big day in Airbnb land. Quick PSA: if you're PSA connect or PMS connected, you got to raise your rates by 18.4%, because you are going from, if you have split fee, you're going to host only fee automatically today through Airbnb. So
Which
it was the day.
Can we add a banner, Will? PSA, add 18% to your Airbnb pricing.
I know that there's, I mean, according to the bubble of my LinkedIn feed, this is still something obviously people are flustered about, but as we mentioned a couple episodes ago, this is just really bringing Airbnb on par with kind of all the OTAs. It's pretty standard, and where Airbnb needed to go. So this is just, again, channel diversification. Don't have all your eggs in the Airbnb basket, and have good revenue managers.
Thank you, Jamie, for that reminder. I'm going to go make sure our hotel has rates updated for Airbnb. So thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. Next topic of the day. We've every single one of our topics at Verma had AI, so we may as well continue to talk about AI on the show.
We can't go an episode without doing it.
No, we can't. Dennis Shaw put in a Skipped article: will agentic AI turn OTAs into passive order takers? Fascinating headline. I think probably the lead, in my opinion, is buried all the way to the end, where the question is this actually going to hurt OTAs long term? And Jamie, I know you've got some strong views that it won't. I still think there's a good chance that there's going to be aggregators or people that figure out the book direct side of things, and it's not going to be as seamless as going in directly and typing and booking. And then Dennis also highlights how this is going to hurt some companies like Expedia that have built a business on ads within their own platform. And as traffic moves more towards the LLMs and away from OTAs directly, whether it gets booked through the OTAs or not, that those eyeballs on the ads are going to be less valuable.
I was thinking about this and how Expedia, when we did our testing a couple weeks ago, it still only shows you a couple options. I was even thinking about this in the broad scope of all of the content that Expedia has, that when you go and you click, it's only serving you even the top cream of whatever Expedia is offering. So you're not even getting, that whole first page, of good content.
So I love that Dennis sort of dug into this, because we did it a few weeks ago when talking about the comment browser, but it's becoming a whole lot more relevant now that ChatGPT has released its own agentic browser called Atlas that can go off and do things for you. So what this piece was about was Dennis sort of testing hey, can you go out and book this hotel for me? And essentially went out and did the whole thing for him, all the way through to, and just prompted him to put in his name and his credit card information, which is, and we've talked about it's incredible that it can go out and do it. And are most people going to use an AI agent to go and book their travel? Maybe if you've got Dennis's hey, go and book this specific hotel, But if you want to go and browse and like get a sense of the photos and like the experiences, like what you're actually going to be doing at those properties, going through the reviews, looking at the photos, like I don't think the vast majority of travel is going to now get booked through AI agents. And if more and more does, I sort of see it equivalent to Expedia or Booking's B2B business anyway, where essentially they are just a tool for pass through bookings of, and then their business model works for B2B or B2C. And then ultimately, like, I don't, and I agree with Dennis on this, I don't see OpenAI or any of the other Perplexity AI providers going out and building their own like inventory of hotels and short-term rentals.
No.
Like, they are going to be dependent on the OTAs to drive incremental bookings. And the big worry I think out there is, at some point, does direct bookings sort of insert their power in reducing the OTA's dominance? And ultimately, like, the more embeddings we see with the OTAs, the more you see Booking and Expedia and Airbnb sort of creating direct apps within, like, and it's just going to make it so easy for the agentic solutions to book it. It's going to become seamless, and the OTAs are going to continue to get their cut. Maybe they'll have to pay a little bit to OpenAI. Maybe they'll have to pay a little bit to Perplexity or Gemini, but it's not going to change or I think diminish ultimately their presence in this market.
Yeah. Curious how you guys go about booking a hotel in a city center, for example. I typically start on Google Maps and see why I'm going to that city, whether it's for work or for an event or a sporting event. I start there and I want to be as close to that as possible, ideally walking distance. And then I look at pricing and then I look at reviews. And so it's kind of threefold, but I always start on the maps. Am I alone in that, or do you guys do that?
I also do that, especially if it's for a specific event. Like if I'm going for a wedding or a conference, you want to be close. And then you kind of look up. I mean, if you just told ChatGPT to book you something, let's say like in Miami, I mean, that's a huge geographical area. If you don't know that there's like a difference between Miami and Miami Beach, or that even in mainland Miami, like for vacation, you're probably going to want to stay maybe in Brickell or whatever. Like, you could just be somewhere totally random, but it meets your other criteria.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if I'm staying in a hotel, typically I'm brand loyal. So I'm going to go to that brand site and I'm going to look for a hotel. I'm still using their map, but what is on that brand? And that's where I see the hotels like sort of worrying, are they missing the boat? Like, that we don't see agentic tools for Marriott, for Hilton, for IHG. And then to your point, Michael, of leveraging the maps, that was part of Airbnb's release that they came out, where like Airbnb maps were objectively terrible. Like,
agreed.
Like,
it's like you're going to be in this vague area.
Right. And you see some circles come up for the prices and like no sense of what's nearby those listings. So the fact that now they're showing it, and at minimum, the nearby landmarks, attraction, restaurants that are near that home, or at least showing you that there's nothing nearby, and like, hey, like, you're going to be in the middle of nowhere. Like, you should know that when you're booking, because it's going to be 30 minutes to get to a grocery store.
Yeah. And I think AI, at least the LLMs, are going to be a ways from being able to visualize maps in there, potentially. I mean, right now, if you search, if you don't go through Booking or Expedia on an LLM, it could give you options, but it's not even giving you photos at this point. All that's going to change. We know how fast this stuff moves, but photos will be first. Hopefully videos, once people start adding those to their listings at some point, that's got to be in people's roadmaps, and then maps. But I think the map is as important as the price, is as important as the review. Like, people book on those three primary criteria.
Well, that's so when it comes, I was thinking about how direct sites are going to be able to compete. But if your direct site has the best price and you tell, like, let's say you find, I guess this is more for like the savviest of shoppers, but if you're like, okay, I found this house, go find the best price for this house. That's not going to be Expedia, right? It's like it's going to be the direct site. So that could be a way for people to continue to kind of circumvent the OTAs, that if they're someone who's really price conscious, like what is the best value, right? And maybe that's how your direct site can kind of weasel its way in.
Yeah. Well, moving on to our last topic, and we've covered this the past 3 weeks in a row, I believe, how the shutdown is affecting travel. Jamie's off to Italy today. I'm off to DC Wednesday, and we'll be able to report back firsthand. But Jamie, any data that you've seen or lack of data that you've seen?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's because of the shutdown or not, but we haven't gotten TSA throughput numbers since last Thursday. So we are now day 27 of the shutdown. Government workers, TSA, air flight controllers missed their first paycheck last week. If you go on any of the major news sites, you see that, and it was this weekend was maybe the first weekend of and significant delays across, and I think they called out 50 different airports around the country. So this is the week and that could start to really move the needle in terms of more and more people actually being impacted by the shutdown. And I think in general, the sentiment has been like, this really hasn't impacted most people much. And now I think we'll start to see it. And I think it's next week that food stamps stop getting funded. And we have seen ways to sort of stopgap on paying the troops, paying different and sort of groups within the government. But ultimately, like, it is going to be pressure from people that are severely impacted by it, by the shutdown, that is going to cause a resolution to come to pass. And unfortunately, I think we've talked about this before, 2019 shutdown, it was sort of major delays at the airports, sort of TSA workers calling out sick, that brought Congress back to negotiate. And unfortunately, it could be our industry, travel and tourism, that is the ultimate sort of, what's it called? And factor that, and who gets hurt most to cause a resolution. So, yeah.
Well, let's just hope this all gets resolved before Thanksgiving. We were talking about that before. Busiest travel day of the year. I was thinking about that. This will be the first year I don't have to fly to Thanksgiving, and I was like, that was good timing.
Yep, and that is a great sort of call out. We're seeing now pacing and looking pretty good for Thanksgiving. Like Thanksgiving pacing's up like 6% versus last year. So if that starts to deteriorate, people don't book those flights because they're worried about the safety of flying, and they're worried about extensive delays, and are going to stay home. That could have major, and for short-term rentals, Thanksgiving is one of, if not the busiest sort of long weekends of the year. It's not a busy travel time for hotels. So it is leisure travel. It is going to see friends and family, and no one wants to stay with their Aunt Becky in rural Ohio. They want their own place. So yeah, it's
poor Aunt Becky.
Yeah, Aunt Becky.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys have smooth travels today and the rest of the week. Jamie, you're going to the Vacation World Summit, so we're very excited to hear what you report back. I feel like Rome is automatically a better destination than Vegas, so there's that.
And Antonio usually puts on the best events of the year. So Rome is the biggest city he's done it in, though, so he keeps going to bigger and bigger cities. Interesting, but Rome is an awesome place. Have fun, Jamie.
Yeah, they have Caesar's real palace in Rome as opposed to the
Yeah,
fake one in Vegas.
exactly.
Good dad joke.
Amazing. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. We appreciate you listening as always, for our live viewers and for those of you who will catch up later on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And we will see you all next week.